Purdy now below 500 despite never being an underdog in a single game in his career. Here's Brock
That's
Purdy.
crazy.
That might change.
I got to play better for sure. Just with my throws, some decisions, and that's pretty simple. I obviously got to watch the film and stuff, but my instant reaction is got to play better.
Okay, Greg called this all along. Brew, is it panic time for you?
I mean, the injuries are. Debo was just sick yesterday. I don't even, had a cold or something. Ayuk, it looks like they think it's an ACL. That's the season.
Probably the year.
And who knows with McCaffrey?
And they missed Juwan Jennings yesterday.
Yeah, Juwan Jennings was out. And then I look at their schedule. I mean, they've got, if we can put it up, they got 3 cupcakes, even if you want to call them. The Rams, and I don't know that they're a cupcake.
I don't know they're a cupcake.
Right?
Miami, are they cupcakes?
I don't think they have any
well, if
cupcakes
they're healthy,
left, bro.
Miami with Tua, presumably, so they won't be a cupcake. And Arizona,
None of those to me are cupcakes.
Arizona,
They lost
they
Arizona
did lose
already.
to them. I'm not saying cupcakes, but teams that, aren't everybody else is playoff bound
everyone
or close.
they either play is either somewhere between decent to excellent.
Yeah.
They have no.
I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
The Cowboys game, that's typically your get-right game. Now, they're so banged up and injured, San Francisco, that's going to really be interesting because obviously the Cowboys are banged up too. So I think the Niners will beat the Cowboys.
But
they better
answer
be.
the
Is it panic time for you?
It's very concerned.
Remember, they're your
concerned
vice
time.
Super Bowl.
Well, now that J-Lo's back, I'm good with the pack. But they are the runner-up.
Greg,
It is
you called
panic
it.
time. It is panic time. Look, and no one wants to gloat in this position that I'm in.
Stop
No,
it.
no, I
Greg,
don't.
can
I
tell
really
you
don't.
something?
Yeah.
It feels great.
It
feels
And
good.
you need a
Correct.
W, man. Go ahead and glow. Go ahead and glow.
But on the outside of the season, when I said the reason why the 49ers will not make the playoffs, in my opinion, was because of this very reason that we're seeing unfold. The injuries. They have a tremendous amount of talent on this roster. But a lot of these guys have, if we look at their history, have been injury riddled.
Yeah.
CMC. Obviously, Greenlaw's been out since the Super Bowl.
Fonga was hurt, came back, got hurt again.
All these
Debo's
guys,
had a
now
history.
Ayuk.
Trent's old.
Eventually,
Right. Yeah,
and I don't want to project, but eventually, and I believe that Kyle Shanahan has been kind of saving Debo when he has been available because he's like, I don't want to overuse him. But now you're sitting at what, 3-4. Your second in your division has the opportunity by tonight to be third in your division. Like, you got to start using this guy, and that's going to put him at risk for possibly injury. So this team, yes, you have to panic. And Purdy has been playing great.
He's been playing great.
For the majority of the season, despite not having a lot of guys.
Well, he's had 3 awful games. They've played 7.
He's had 2
Awful?
He's had 2 awful games.
Okay, what are the awful games?
He had this one was an awful game, and 2 weeks ago was an awful game.
What about the one where he told Brian Flores, man, your scheme is crazy?
for
he
318
wasn't awful in that game.
Okay.
One touchdown, one pick.
Okay. So listen, luckily, I would assume no one's going to panic about the Niners because they've got a guy that everyone at the table is telling me is a $60 million a year man in Brock Purdy, and they're going to. Debo is not hurt. Debo got sick. George Kittle is still there. At some point, Christian McCaffrey will be back. And now listen, I was reading The Athletic this morning, and I thought that. I think it's Marcus Thompson who wrote the article, great writer. I mean, a little copyright infringement if we can throw it up there, but he's right. But because this season the 49ers need him to be borderline heroic, scaling Mount Mahomes, watch it now, sir.
Yeah.
If you're not going to credit the show.
Yeah.
And the even greater Sierra representing their title route requires Purdy to summon his best as the adversity increases. He couldn't on Sunday. And on Sunday, he was awful. And again,
Was the defense the best defense in the league, or is Purdy awful?
Right, he faced the best defense in the league.
It was
okay,
combination of both.
hold on.
CJ Stroud was
So
awful.
this really frustrates me. Yes, the Chiefs have the best defense in the league. A quarterback throwing 3 interceptions, even against the best defense in the league, is an awful performance.
Okay.
And if you are trying to sell me this is an ascending great player who's going to get $60 million a year on an SBOB team, you have to at least play decent against the great teams. You don't get a pass on the, oh, well, of course you didn't play well against the really good teams. Those are the only games that matter. for teams that are S-Bob, as you would say.
He's played well in the playoffs, so those are good teams.
You and I feel differently about quite how well he. No, I think he's played fine, but about quite how well he's played in the playoffs. But I'm talking about the here and the now.
Yeah.
The here and the now is the Niners aren't going to have all the Avengers, and we know that Brock Purdy in his career, when he has all the Avengers, they never lose except for in overtime in the Super Bowl. And when they're missing 1, 2, 3, or any of them, they're a below 500 team and he's bad.
Well, then why doesn't Kyle Shanahan, before he get his gold jacket out of the dry cleaners, do something about it? Kyle Shanahan's the genius to the point where any quarterback can come in there and win with Kyle Shanahan, but when Kyle Shanahan is down by 8 at halftime, he's now 2-20. You can't engineer for all. That's his entire career with all the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy. We put it all on Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan.
So the answer to that,
Kyle Shanahan.
So two things, just real quick, Dust. Give us 30 more seconds because this is exactly what happens on the show. Last week when Purdy was awesome and cooked up Seattle, Kyle Shanahan's name with respect.
They both get credit.
Hold on, no, he didn't. Kyle Shanahan's name was not said on this show once last week talking about the Seahawks, and you know it. Nobody was like, oh my God, the scheme. It was Nick apologized to Purdy. But when he's bad, Kyle Shanahan, who took
he's
Jimmy
0-5 against Andy Reid. And no matter what the quarterback is, he's 0-5. He's 0-5 with Brock Purdy. He's 0-5 with Jimmy G.
That's it. That's the list.
Okay, so why? So if you use the Jimmy G and Brock Purdy are interchangeable when they win, how about when they lose, it's Kyle Shanahan's fault? It doesn't matter who you put in there. Kyle Shanahan will lose to Andy Reid.
No, I don't think they're interchangeable. I think Brock's better than Jimmy G. But I think your stat, we're going to look at that stat and feel two different things. I feel like that stat is exactly Kyle Shanahan's genius, which is as long he can take any quarterback and get them a lead. But if they don't have one, guess who comes back from down 8 at halftime? The great quarterbacks. He's never had one.
He's 2-20.
But Purdy came back in the playoff game.
Yes, and that was the first performance. That's great. Listen, so this is why ultimately at its core, people think that I just am super anti-Purdy. This is exactly what happens, though. We are stealing credit away from, in my opinion, a universal top 5 coach in this league. Because he's elevated Purdy so much that now when they don't get higher, people are like, what's wrong with Kyle? Because he's tricked you into thinking he has a great quarterback.
People are looking at his stats in games, like you said, when he's trailing by 8 at halftime and stuff like that.
It's hard to come back when you don't have.
It was a bad day.
It would have been better.
It should be lower.
It would have been better.
If you're looking for a defense.
Hold on, bro.
I got to play better for sure. Just with my throws, some decisions. And that's pretty simple. I obviously got to watch the film and stuff, but my instant reaction is got to play better.
Kirk Cousins.
Exactly.
He does, the outfit.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
How's Kirk Cousins dressed?
Well, can I just say
Kirk
something?
Cousins looks Atlanta cool now.
Matthew Stafford.
Wilds, every time we see Brock Purdy, Wilds
is the
off
one.
the air says the guy doesn't dress well enough to be a franchise quarterback. Then we get on the air and you act
You're
like you
well,
don't
he
feel
doesn't
that way.
make any money. You can get a suit on loan and be like, hey,
He
before I
makes
start,
enough
this is my
money.
Hugo Boss shirt.
He makes $1 million bucks a year.
That's
exactly
he can
right.
dress well.
But he's from, well, he played at Iowa State.
Where are you from,
where
bro?
you played.
I lived in Iowa for 2 years.
Exactly.
I was sharp, but a lot of people
Look at
weren't.
these guys.
A lot of other people
Sorry,
weren't.
we're going to yell that. Let's Blazer
All right,
talk.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not basketball
Go
season.
defend the guy who you said was going to win, who
what's
threw
the
the
question?
game away.
I don't even know.
I do.
It's how much
Purdy
to
needs
blame.
to dress better.
Purdy the reason why the Niners lost.
There's a lot of reasons, and I'm going to get to Purdy. Purdy he's not, don't think I'm going to be up here defending, because I'm objective. You know, I cut my teeth in journalism.
Yeah, not like you.
So I keep it real. Yeah, I waved the pom-poms while
for no man.
Thank you.
Then why
First
do you
of
literally
all-
go Iowa Mafia?
First
Is
of
that
all-
not a pom-pom in
I'm
your
not
hand when
doing
you do
Iowa Mafia today.
Mafia?
First of all, I got to say something about the 49ers special teams.
Oh, my
Their
God.
special, no, because they played a role in this.
I mean,
their special teams are a joke.
That's
and
true,
that is on Kyle Shanahan. Like, how in the world are your special teams? So they're on their third kicker because the other two got hurt making tackles on kickoffs. All right, they missed an extra point last night. And, Nick, because this had a factor, McCall Hardman has a 55-yard punt return.
Of course.
Which sets up a touchdown to go up 14-3.
Now, the kid
so
did
they
hit
deserve
something. Not the kid, but their kicker did hit a 55-yarder, which is career long. But I agree with you.
Right, that's the problem. The defense.
Come on, bro.
Hold on. They can't tackle.
That's true. But Mahomes does that little sideline thing.
It is rare. It wasn't just Mahomes. It is rare that, or at least it was yesterday and watching this season, that the first guy that makes a hit on the runner makes the tackle. Yeah. And if he does, he's dragged 2 or 3 yards.